Ladies and gentlemen, we are now broadcasting live and direct from the headquarters of Connecting Asia here at the UTM Technovation Center, ICC, here in Johor Bahru. Connecting Asia is glad to welcome each and every one of us to the 6th Asia International Conference, and this is the last event for this conference for this year. With us, ladies and gentlemen, in this strategic forum, which is indeed a signature event also of Connecting Asia, that is concerned about bringing the who is who in the academic world, who is who in the global community, so that we discuss issues of concern to humans and humanity at large. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our 3rd strategic forum. The first one was done in Langkawi, second one was in KLCC, Kuala Lumpur, and now we are going global through online means. This year's 6th year's Asia International Conference focuses on the very important theme about towards digital future beyond the COVID. It is often said the law of significance is one person is small to drive the community to greatness. We need a team, and this time is not just ordinary teams, but teams of intellectuals. We are aware of how the pandemic has destabilized the global community. The need to have frontliners to show the world the direction is very vital. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the passion of Connecting Asia. How can it give a kind of platform to invite scholars and discuss such issues? Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, we are broadcasting here directly from the headquarters of Connecting Asia. With us here are versatile and awesome panelists. In spite of their tight schedules, they are here to share from the wealth of their own experiences. Dear panelists, on behalf of Connecting Asia, we most sincerely welcome you all, and we hope your sharing and really give confidence to the global community. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are inviting each of the panelists to give us, to share what he has for us for the maximum of 10 minutes. Then after taking from the panelists, ladies and gentlemen, remember, you have an opportunity to ask questions, to make comments through our own chat box. If you do that, we'll ask such questions, and the people concerned, the experience, the experts are here to respond to your own questions. Ladies and gentlemen, with us here is our Iron Lady in Connecting Asia, Dr. Sobia Iron, all the way from Bahrain. You are welcome, Dr. Sobia. Dr. Sobia.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Yeah, Dr. Sobia is an assistant professor of University of Bahrain, and he has a PhD and from the University Technology Malaysia, and her specialization is on management. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sobia is also one of the strong team members of Connecting Asia, and she's here to share with us the experience and her expertise particularly looking at the theme for this year's Asia International Conference towards digital future beyond the COVID. I have the honor and privilege to invite Dr. Sobia Ero. You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Inda, for inviting me to this platform. And welcome to all of you. Good morning from Bahrain. As we are talking about this pandemic situation and how it has transformed everything which we have been experiencing. So, unfortunately, we are going through this course of history, which has transformed our lives without our consent. So, I'll be talking about this on this strategic forum today. I'll be talking about all my experiences which I had during past 1 year while working with these two organizations, Connecting Asia and University of Bahrain. And according to the backdrop of today's theme, which is towards a digital future beyond COVID-19. So we all know that with the very outbreak of this pandemic worldwide, this has fundamentally shaken up the whole business landscape, and it has changed the way we work. But we can say that it is acting as a catalyst of change for a fast tracking digital revolution. And this COVID-19 it has accelerated this transformation, and it has pushed the businesses to enable them to do remote working, almost 100% of their workforce. So we can say that it has also increased the resilience by embracing virtual collaborative platforms like everybody now has to push to work exclusively remotely. So there are pitfalls, as well as we can say that there are some um, upsides of this crisis as well, which the businesses have faced. Not only the downsides, some upsides as well. So actually, this is what I can see. It's a transition to a world of automation. It has impacted almost every industry, and it has brought a radical change in the way we work. How it has changed, like it has taken off the administrative tasks, and then now they could be performed by robots as well. But when we talk about this automation, can we say that it's a job destruction? I don't think so. That this digitalization it means that it's a job destruction. What I can see is that it's really a job augmentation, because the tasks which are being performed by humans are now most likely to shift to more complex, non-routine, and more innovative tasks. So I think that this is just a transformation from it's just a not a destruction, it's an augmentation of job. So there is one flip side of this remote working as well, because while we are employing this remote working environment, we as a human beings, we are social animals, and it is a fact that we would miss connecting with our colleagues, our peers. And while working from home, the most important aspect which I can see is that we also feel like that we never leave our work. So it can ultimately impact our productivity as well. So here comes, in my opinion, here comes the role of the leadership, because now they have the responsibility to address these pitfalls. They should beat the collaboration, productivity, and emotional disadvantages which can arise due to this psychological impacts which this pandemic is inflicting on us as a human being. But in this new normal, we can say that it is still unclear when this pandemic will get over. But what is certain is that our work life will not going to be same. It will not going to be same again. So now enterprises, they will become more resilient, because because this nature remote working and this nature of business model is less risky and well suited for a business continuity and agility. But for efficient communication and collaboration, now the investment, what I can see is that investment will shift from real estate to new technology that make remote working more functional, more productive, and the focus will be on data security as well, because it is very essential for enterprises or for the businesses to invest more on those technologies and to ensure that data and information is not compromised, because now remote working is the new normal. So what's the future, or what we can say that how the future will be shaped by this transformation? Like we all know that businesses and even almost every industry, it has been heavily hit by this pandemic, and maybe some businesses or some industries may never recover from it, but some of them they also find themselves radically reshaped. Others see that they can see some new opportunities opened up by new market dynamics, by new market configurations. So it is essential for any organization who is anticipating a long-term future in post-COVID world to understand the possibilities which lie beyond that COVID-19 situation. So the future of working world may look very different after in the aftermath of this crisis. But either way, this time of disruption is what I think is also a time of opportunity for the businesses as well. And in this, you can say that this crisis time, the main responsibility comes on the leadership, the resilient leadership, because this crisis requires resilient leaders to respond. And in my opinion, there can be three phases in which any resilient leadership can respond. There should be, or there can be three phases. The first phase can be responding to this, second phase can be recovering from this, and the third phase can be how to thrive during this, after this. So in responding stage or in responding phase, uh, the leadership has to deal with the present situation and they have to manage the continuity of the business. Then in the recovery stage, what they can do is how they learn and they apply and how to emerge more stronger in any crisis situation. And for the third stage, which is the thriving stage, I think the leadership prepares for or shapes the next normal. So, in my opinion, these can be the three stages for resilient leadership. They have to respond to these three phases of COVID-19. As I told you that I have been linked with, or I've been working with Connecting Asia. So I'll be talking about Connecting Asia, like what in during this pandemic crisis, how Connecting Asia emerged as a successful, you can say that successful company or successful business. As you all know, that it's a research-based organization, and uh, luckily our resilient leadership, they quickly responded to need for digitalization. So when this pandemic hit the world, at that time our conference AIMC was just around the corner when the MCO hit the organization, and it compelled us to transform altogether. Our conference management system was already there, but physical conferences was not possible. So we totally shifted to a virtual mode using available digital platforms. So our leadership, they have taken it as an opportunity to widen their network. They contacted more renowned scholars from around the world. And in AIMC 2020, we see that at Asia's platform, everything we have managed remotely, but we managed to have a very successful conference, and that was the first conference we ever had 100% remotely. Then after the AIC 2020, which was held virtually, in which all presentations, all opening, closing ceremonies, all competitions, everything was done remotely, or you can say that it was done through the digital platforms. Even Connecting Asia during its 1 year of pandemic, during post-pandemic, or you can say that during this pandemic journey, Connecting Asia has conducted different training workshops remotely, different webinars conducted worldwide. Like I have organized a webinar in Bahrain, then Dr. Imran was having webinars in Indonesia, Pakistan, Bahrain, around the world. Also, it was also very interesting to note that previously we were having two signature events, one in a year, but during this pandemic time, Asia has started another grand event, and it was a huge success. That was NX 2020, which was uh, a very successful event by Connecting Asia, and it was also being done remotely. So it have seen a participation at a grand level, even at on the government level, and this innovation exhibition was a huge success. So this Connecting Asia during this time not only organized all the events remotely. Also, they have signed MOUs with other research-based organizations. They have received the research grant from a UK-based research organization, the APRA. They on also the mega event AIC 2020. It was also held with the collaboration of Emerald Publishing. So we have seen that during this pandemic, there are more participation in our all events around, because we have seen so many renowned research scholars from around the world, highly reputed editor-in-chiefs of renowned journals. Now there are more publication opportunities available. So you can see that we are having this strategic forum, which is based on this current scenario, and the theme is based on this current pandemic situation. Also, we can say that with this, I've just given you the example of Connecting Asia just to elaborate my point of view that in this difficult time, even Connecting Asia has responded. It has recovered and thrived by taking it as an opportunity. So we can say that in this pandemic situation, or Connecting Asia was a good example that how companies, if they are having a resilient leadership, how they can thrive themselves, how they can reshape their working. So
Okay.
this COVID-19 showed us that the future lies in digital leadership. But I can say that future definitely lies in digital leadership.
Thank
Because
you.
it has jolted the companies, this pandemic situation has jolted down the companies to check their digital readiness. So for digital leaders, agile mindset, leading change, driving business are some of the traits which are required. So what I can say that agile mindset of any digital leader, it suggests that an individual must have, or leader must have the ability to learn, to adapt to changes in their environment, and they should seek those skills and experiences which are required in that unprecedented situation. So flexibility, adaptability, and resilience, they are needed across the workforce, but they are most important traits which is required for the agile leadership. And also how these agile leaders, they can lead the change, or how those digital leaders, they can lead the change. They
Uh,
can lead the change about steering the people in a volatile working environment. They can promote, they can inspire, they can collaborate, they can empower the team members to embrace change. And then they want them to drive for, they can drive them for self-development, for being self-aware, and they push them to move into a role of, they push them to learn new skills, and they just take a role of the facilitator.
Doctor, I think it's our time. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. That was all from my side. Actually, I just needed to say that, in my opinion, the digital leadership is what all is required in this pandemic situation to steer the businesses out of this unprecedented situation. Thank you so much. And thank you. Sorry, I have taken a
very wonderful presentation from our own Iron Lady, Dr. Sobia Ero, all the way from Bahrain. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, we are broadcasting here live and direct from the headquarters of Connecting Asia. And this is the first session of Strategic Forum. We here are the versatile and awesome team of panelists that are here to share their own experiences so that to serve as compass and direction give us, particularly on the pandemic situation we are in, what will be the future of technology or digital world. Thank you, Dr. Sobia, for sharing. Particularly, you have given us the need for digital leadership where they can respond a recovery stage and also thriving stage. Towards that, things will go normal, and you've shown us how Connecting Asia have taken that resilient leadership from the time the COVID hits the world, and we are now 100% online. Thank you so much. And the next in the discussion here is our next panelist, who is a representative of Emerald Population Company, and is indeed a business manager, Southeast. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to invite Mr. William Law to share from the perspective of Emerald Population Company what will be the future of the digital world beyond the COVID.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me that. Wonderful moderating and also great sharing from Dr. Sobia. I really agree with her on the future lies in the with the digital leadership. That's really, really true on that. And we are seeing that effect right now too. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen right now. Just a short one. Are you able to see my presentation?
Yes, we can see.
Right. If I do, over time, please feel free to just stop me. Right. Just a very short presentations on towards the digital future beyond COVID-19 itself. Of course, first of all, before that, a very big thank you to Connecting Asia, to the moderator for inviting Emerald Publishing as the core organizer for the event, the 6th Asia conference, and also the 3rd strategic forum. Without further ado, my topic today are really simple. Just one, which is purely talking about real impact. So what is impact? If you're new to this term, then I welcome you to read more about this. And if you are already in this what I call that impact factors and also the changes and things like that. So this is something that we believe is going to be the future of the direction, right? What is the impact? Impact is basically the promised land of research, where it means that you have arrived, but you're also going other places as well. It's a provable benefit of research in the real world. It's basically not judged by traditional methods such as citations, impact factors, and things like that. But it's also about connecting academic research to the world around us. So you can actually read more about this. I can show it to you in the next slide itself. But if I may, I just wanted to show to you a very short video. About that. It's only about.
Hi, I'm David Phipps. I'm the Executive Director of Research and Innovation Services.
Are you able to hear the video?
In Toronto, in Canada.
Hi, I'm Julie Bailey. I'm the Director of Research Impact Development at the University of Lincoln in the UK. Impact is the provable benefits of research in the real world. So it's some substantiated, some demonstrated effects of our research playing out in the social world. It's not measured by things like citations and academic attention. It's measured by changes, things we can see and feel are new, be they big or small.
Right. As I said, it is really what I call that, very straightforward impact and what it means by the impact itself. Right, and what it means for researchers and what it means for the institution itself. So if I were to able to show it to you, you can find more information on what we have. When we launch Real Impact, we actually aim to help our research community to see the impact of their work. So the manuscript or the research that has been done by the students, right, by the authors, by the researchers. So what it means after publication, what do you wanted to achieve after publications? What do you wanted to have changes after the publication itself? So this is what we call the impact factors. And real impact has a real world, right, so real world impact that goes beyond the citation and make the changes. It's all about communities joining together to find a solution that results in positive change. We refer this as provable effects of research in the real world. We always appreciate it's not easy for academic researchers to see the impact of their work. That's why we launch Real Impact to aid the cause and call on research community to come together and break down barriers together. So we also have Real Impact Award and also newsletter. We also welcome you all to have more into that. And this is the part that I wanted to share for today's sessions itself. So this is the impact. And what it means by the researcher, it's all about change. So it's all about change. So what are the changes that you wish to bring to the world? What are the changes that you wanted to bring forward to the community, to the real world itself, to the UN SDGs and so and so? And what are the language that you wanted to bring it and resonate to the world? Like the sustainability, right? Like Dr. Sobia was talking about digital leadership. So these are some of the research that resonates and also encourage the research to connect to the government of the day, to the corporate society of the day, to the society as you and me of the day as well, right? And the last one, and before I move on further, real impact is not just a manifesto, it's not just a marketing, gimmick or things like that, but to make to actually get to actually move things forward, to actually get more authors, researchers to support the real world cause itself. Emerald, we actually launched Emerald Young Researcher Award 2021 next year. If you are from the Southeast Asia region, so this is a regional award. You can find more information in our corporate websites under the regional awards here. So this is our Emerald Young Researcher Awards. The submission is open from the 1st January next year until 30 September of next year itself. And what is this all about? So this is about to celebrate, to actually motivate, to actually shape and nurture the young researcher of the day, the young author of the day, the importance of real impact. Publishing is not just about citation. Publishing is not just about download. Publishing is about the research they have conducted, the literature review they have gone through, the discussions and the, some of the topics that you actually, academic topics that you actually gone together, where you would like to make a change to the community, would like to make a change to the government policy for the day. So example, COVID-19, when we talk about COVID-19, the most hot topic right now is about the dissemination of vaccines. How does one country or the other countries are actually planning their logistics, right? Planning their strategy so that their citizens are able to be vaccinated, actually covered with these vaccines and so. So there are some judging criteria. You can actually go into that. But these are the one of the regional award that we wanted to nurture and we wanted to bring more mindsets about the real impact. and it's not just about citations and also the download. Well, I hope to have give more sharings about the award and also the real impact itself. But feel free to ask questions to us if you have any questions, or please reach out to us or our regional marketing manager, Madam Rosita, at asia@emerald.com. With that, I would like to say thank you. Thank you, the moderator. Thank you to the organizers, and also all the best to all the panelists and also the speaker. With that, back to you, moderator.
Unmute, please.
You are muted. You are muted.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this intriguing and very interesting presentation from the business manager, Southeast Emerald Population Company. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Connecting Asia. This is Strategic Forum of the 6th Asia International Conference 2020, happening live and direct from the headquarters of Connecting Asia here in UTM Technovation Park, ICC, here in Johor Bahru. While we expect the next panelist, Dr. Abdullah, to be warming up, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to introduce such a personality that will now share on the future of digital world technology beyond the COVID. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Abdullah is a specialist in communication and branding. He's a trainer, public speaker, or public speaking guru. And Dr. Abdullah is an assistant dean, external and global engagement, University Technology, Malaysia, precisely from the Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities. Dr. Abdullah is the Chief Executive Officer of Abdullah Muhammad Nawi Inspire, or AM Inspire Training and Consultancy. Has his PhD in education from the University of Canterbury, New Zealand. Ladies and gentlemen, he's also a specialist in applied drama and English language learning and reflective practice. He's a native speaker, English language lecturer and teacher, trainer with more than 15 years teaching experience. Teaching and managing students, including experience overseas as language tutor for students from diverse nationalities and age groups. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Abdullah is this skillful in communication and Bachelor of Education in Teaching English as a Second Language from University of Exeter, UK, awarded Master of Education TESOL from University Technology, Malaysia. The list go on and on. It's my honor and privilege, ladies and gentlemen, to invite whom I call all the time my mentor, Dr. Abdullah, for his own sharing. Dr. Sir.
Thank you very much, Inda. And can you guys hear me? Is this on? Okay, good. Thank you for such a very flowy introduction. I must say it was painful to listen to that when you listen to it in your, in your own ears. Thank you again. Thank you for the opportunity to share with the panel and also with the viewers some views that I have about the process of the digitalization during COVID-19, and also some of the things, what lies beyond it. And I think what I'm going to do is that a lot of the things which are to do with infrastructure and so on and so forth, I think that's going to be covered a lot by the other speakers. I'm going to cover a little bit about something else. But first, before I do that, please allow me to give a very short overview on my faculty, and I'd just like to do that via sharing. Just let me find the share screen. Okay, share and okay, all right. So I'm can everybody see the wavy? Okay. All right. So once again, welcome. I am Dr. Abdullah Muhammad Nawi. I'm the Assistant Dean for External and Global Engagement for the Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, UTM, and at the faculty at FSSH, Social Sciences and Humanities. We are a rather unique faculty where we are the only faculty that is dedicated to something else apart from science and technology and engineering technology, which is what the strength of University Technology Malaysia is. This puts us in a rather interesting situation, but we have shown that we are not a burden. In fact, far from it. We are proud to say that according to the rankings, I know rankings are not the only thing, but so far we've UTM is ranked 187 in the world, which is really, really good. Top 10 in Southeast Asia, top 10 Asia, top 10 young universities. And the thing that we are really, really proud of was last year, we were #1 in Malaysia for ranking by subject for both social sciences and education. But this year, beat us to it in terms of education. So education, is #1, and we're still #1 in terms of social sciences. The connection between this and what I'm about to say after this, there is a slight connection to it. But just let me tell you a little bit more about who we are. There are 5 schools under the faculty. Initially, each school was its own faculty, but UTM went through a restructuring process coming up to 3 years ago. And the faculties became schools. And so now one faculty houses these 5 schools: education, human resource development and psychology, language academy, Academy of Islamic Civilization, and the Raja Zahra Sophia Center for Advanced Studies in Islam, Science and Civilization. So that's briefly who we are and what we do, which is totally it's a totally different direction from what the other parts of the university are doing. But what we try to do is we try to complement them as much as they try to complement us. And in fact, it works really, really well in a very synergistic way. Now, I'm just going to go and pass that. Now, so that's who we are. And let's move on to what we've been talking about. And that is the new normal. And as we know, things like this is our everyday now. We are faced with hundreds of little pictures of faces, and we're talking to them. And this used to be a novelty last year even, but now this is what's happening everywhere. And whether we embrace it or whether we are resistant to it, it is here to stay, and there will be many disruptions to come. I'd just like to bring you to the from Phil Hill, the multiple phases of higher education response to COVID-19. So as you can see, this goes to 4 phases, and as you can see how the process of adapting, adopting, and then going through the changes and finally emerging to the new normal, where we've seen countries, we've seen higher education adapt to the changes. And at UTM and at my faculty, the Faculty of Social Sciences, we've done similar things. And among the things that we've done are, for example, we have the online distance learning. Before this even, we have started our journey to blended learning. So before this, we actually had a policy of 30% blended learning, but now blended learning where we go online and then we have offline. But now, because of the shift, we had to shift and increase the percentage to 50-50, but for open distance learning, it is 100%. So there are multiple options that we give to our clients. And I think that's the most important thing, where our clients don't feel restricted, they don't feel trapped, they don't feel that there is only one way to do things. There are several ways, and I believe that this is something very important for us in higher education, to be able to adapt to these ways and also to offer the programs that our clients want and need. Another one would be this program here, the UTM Online Global Classroom, or the OGCs. And these are some of the OGCs that we offer for the faculty. Now, OGCs, this is something done throughout the whole university. And this is where we take our partners and we discuss with them what sort of learning experience can we do? So can we do together? So what we do is, before this, traditionally, if you wanted to go out, if you want to have outbound experience, outbound students, you'd have to get the students travel on a plane, go far away, find accommodation, blah, 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 all those costing thousands and thousands of ringgit or US dollars. But now, this COVID-19 has presented us with an opportunity for mobility, where we have, at the touch of a button, we're in Indonesia, at the touch of a button, we're in Germany, touch of a button, we're in the UK. And UTM has harnessed this to be able to offer outbound and inbound experiences. And this is something that I'm opening to our panel, I'm opening to our viewers as well. If you're from another institution and you wish to explore collaborative learning experiences where we can have a shared classroom, whatever, please come in contact with me. This is one of the ways forward that we're propelling, we're moving towards. These are some examples that we have. This one is with Ritsumikan University, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Some of the other things that we do micro-credentials, and these are mini courses that people can take. Before this was offline, but now they can take these courses online, and when they're ready, they can go into the program and cross-transfer credits. We have Moocs, the massively open online CS. Can't remember those, but it's collaborative. It's an online learning platform, and we have upgraded infrastructure, and not just within the university, but I think this is through the whole country. And what's good about Malaysia is that Malaysia we're moving alongside the country. Malaysia is also upgrading, and we're also upgrading as well. And there's a very good synergy between university and government. And there's also training. Like I mentioned before this, we previously have been doing online learning, but even more so, what's very, very important is that we provide training, because you can have all the infrastructure in the world, but if you don't know how to use them, there's no point. So that's really, really very, very, very important. Now, what I wanted to bring up is, okay, so we've done all that, but what now? What's the next step? What's beyond this? Because I'm pretty sure that most of what I've covered is actually going to be covered by my fellow panelists in their own situations. So what now? And perhaps in these next 2 minutes, I'm just going to introduce or rather talk about this term. One of the things that we need to be able to do is, it's very good for us to do training, for us to upgrade infrastructure, but we have to be able to ensure that everyone is included. We have to make sure that the digital divide is lessened. We have to make sure that education is accessible through all layers of society. And this is one of the issues that we actually had a discussion with the Queen of Johor, Her Majesty Raja Zaru Sophia, where she's very concerned about how difficult it is for the lower income students to bridge the gap. So that's one of the things that we need to think about. And the last slide that I want to share, because I see Inda smiling. Usually Inda smiling means you better end. Don't worry, this is the last slide. One thing that we really, really need to remember is this. It's all good for us to move forward. It's all good for us to have technology, but we need to never forget about what makes us human. We need to be able to cater not just for online learning or transfer of knowledge, but we need to also cater to experiences that enrich human relationships. How we do that? Well, for me, that's the way forward. Thank you very much. Back to you, Inda. Thank you.
What a kind of breathtaking presentation from Dr. Abdullah. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah, for this wonderful presentation. Thank you, University Technology Malaysia, for taking that proactive measure, providing the world alternative in spite of the heat of the COVID-19. Online global class, MOOC, Moocs, and a lot more. And it was wonderful, ending by saying, of course, how can we improve relations? As humans, and someone talking from the humanities, you understand that humans first before all other things. The world, the global community depends on what humans can help within the lead. Thank you so much for this sharing, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just joining us, this is a strategic forum, having some versatile panelists sharing from their wealth of experience about the digital future beyond the COVID. If someone is talking about his own future, that is to say, his present is becoming obsolete. Ladies and gentlemen, the future is going digital, and digital is going global. How can we cope up with this rapidly changing world, and how can we survive it? This is the focus of Connecting Asia, and this is why it has attracted and developed a platform for such gigantic, renowned scholars all over the world in this strategic forum organized by Connecting Asia. This is the third strategic forum for our information. The one started from Langkawi, the other one Kuala Lumpur, and this is going global through online means 100% in the 6th Asia International Conference. Thank you, our founding director, Dr. Muhammad Imran Qureshi, for this wonderful initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, if you are just joining us, we are broadcasting directly from the headquarters of Connecting Asia, and you have the chance to ask questions in through Ladies and gentlemen, we'll move forward to invite another great scholar and a scholar with a difference, a leader by excellence, is no any other person but Dr. Aliu Isa Tikaji. An athlete used to say, and I quote, "The body wants to give up, but the mind will not. When the spirit is active, then such a spirit will continue leading the body, whether it likes or not." Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy to announce to you that our own doctor, who holds a PhD from the prestigious University Technology Malaysia, Dr. Ali Isachi Kaji, is a teaching staff of Yobe State University, Damaturu in Nigeria, Northeast. He was the former director of school and pre-degree studies and has served in many committees at different capacities. Dr. Ali Isachi Kaji has authored and published articles in reputable journals. He is a member of the editorial board of a couple of journals. He has also attained a number of professional certificates. Dr. Ali Isachi Kaji loves traveling and community service and has attended many local and international conferences, workshops, seminars, colloquium, etc. He has worked in both private and public sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Ali Isachi Kaji has held a number of academic and administrative responsibilities. And he is currently the Deputy Director, Center for Research and Capacity Development on Humanitarian Studies, Yobe State University, Damaturu. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't stop there. He is currently the Excellency, the President of the APRA Association of the Professional Researchers and Academia. It's my honor and privilege, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce Dr. Aliu Isachi Kaji for his sharing. Dr. Sir.
Well, thank you very much, my brother, my fellow compatriot, Abdulmumin Inda. Good morning, everyone from Nigeria. I hope you are getting my voice. Yes. Just want to see it. Oh, okay, good. It's really good. I mean, great to be in the midst of great personalities like you all. I am always happy seeing such faces, you know, and it's reinvigorating, I would say. I want to start by thanking Connecting Asia for bringing us together, for always bringing us together to discuss topical issues. There can never be a topic that is as topical as beyond, I mean, towards a digital future. And you could understand that, I mean, you will agree with me that almost every one of these panelists, especially the ones that spoke earlier, have a meeting point. And this is because it's topical, like I said earlier. Now, with the permission of our amiable moderator, I would like to share my screen. Do I have your permission, please?
Please go ahead. And remember, you have 10 minutes.
Okay. All right. Once again, good morning. And this is the third strategic forum with a theme towards the digital future beyond COVID-19. And my topic for today's presentation is beyond the Nigerian's mask, mastering the future. Now, sorry, 1 second. Okay. Now, the Nigerian's mask. you could see that this is what I call the Nigerian's mask, where you have a summary of the situation in Nigeria now. as at yesterday, we have a total confirmed cases of about 77,933. Discharged, in other words, recovered 67,784, and we've had 1,218 deaths. Yeah, the economy is in shambles. We had situation where budgets were represented, reappropriated, monies were redirected, yet as a country we ended up in a recession. And classrooms, schools at all levels were locked down at a time when many aren't ready and do not have the technological platforms to continue or leverage on. You know, stay home or lockdown was declared, and so both students and their mentors were made to stay and work from home. A lot of improvisations were made, and now, having gone through what we have gone through as a country, we had to embrace the situation we are caught in, which has become the new normal. Now, beyond the Nigeria's mask, I would like to make reference to what we call VUCA, which is about volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And most countries, or rather the country, is presented with a situation, and considering VUCA, one hardly predicts the next thing that will happen. And it is at that moment that Connecting Asia and Diapra came together with a common understanding that while the present matters, the future matters most. And I'm sure you will understand that that's what informed this year's Strategic Forum's theme. In the middle of that, or therefore amidst COVID-19, Connecting Asia organized one of its kind virtual conference, April this year, which is AIMC 2020. It brings researchers to brainstorm on issues with a particular emphasis on COVID-19 researches. The APRA identified and keyed into the project in order to be part of the drivers into the digital future. Now, when life gives you lemons, it is said that you always turn it to lemonades. So as we grapple with the unfortunate situation of COVID-19, the APRA, or rather we felt that, okay, the best is we use or leverage on the technology and collapse all barriers and continue to work, forge ahead. The APRA Saudi and the APRA Nigeria established a number of research groups and was able to publish some articles while some more researches are ongoing. The network, which starts with just two persons, I mean the president, the APRA Nigeria, and the president, the APRA Saudi Arabia, in person of Dr. Badr Muhammad Al-Sulami. We came together to, brainstorm, to think, to discuss and come up with a number of ideas. And we felt that, okay, in spite of the fact that we have, or rather we are caught in a situation of COVID-19, we cannot travel, we cannot meet physically and all of that. But here we have a framework established by Connecting Asia, which we can all leverage on and continue to work. And we started. And I'm happy to announce to you that it is really expanding, and it's growing fast, growing by the day. In the middle of all of this, I had a very fatal accident. All this happened. I mean, personally, 2020 is a year that is unique in its sense to me, as we are here living with COVID, and it is the year I had this fatal accident, as you can see in the photo. Yet I see all of this as a blessing, and it further strengthens me and my bond with colleagues and partners across the globe. One of the photos here shows how badly the car was damaged during the accident, and on the photo besides it, that's me uh, before I am being moved to the hospital by the rescue team. And that's me and my wife, trying to learn how to, I mean, that's in the gym during my physical therapy. And in one of the photo where I have a nurse behind me, it was during, I mean, a time when I was taught how to walk again. So, I mean, life presents very unusual situations. In this case, we have COVID. In my own case, I have an accident. But yet, all of this did not stop us from the normal business. Normal business, I mean, from researches, from coming together to discuss issues. By training, by design, we are problem solvers, and the world is full of problems now. And so we will never renege. We will always come together or find platforms which, like what Connecting Asia is doing across the globe, bringing countries, bringing experts, bringing researchers, and then discussing issues, providing solutions, and in some cases publishing them and all of that. So the message here is, despite all of this, going into the digital future is something that is almost, I would say, the panacea, and it's made easy through platforms like this. As we talk, we are being listened by people across the globe, and this is only possible uh, through the APRA's efforts and all of that. So here is a situation where we have to, as intellectuals, that are fostering the interest of humanity, we must come together to continue with that. And then we have the technology as a vehicle, which we can always achieve that. I am very conscious of my time being just 8 minutes or 10 minutes. And at this point, I would like to pass the control over to my brother, the moderator in person of Abdulmumin Inda. Thank you very much, Connecting Asia. Thank you very much, Abdulmumin Inda, and I thank all the panelists, for having me here. Thank you. Over to you, Inda.
Thank you so much. That has been Dr. Aliu Isa Chikaji, one of us, one of our own, and of course, is making impact irrespective of his own condition. I made a statement. The body wants to give up, but the mind will not. We are happy having you in Connecting Asia again. We are happy for this wonderful and intriguing presentation, looking and discussing about towards the digital future beyond COVID-19. You have told us how you collaborated with Saudi APRA and how you come up with some beautiful ideas, and you are still moving together. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and privilege to invite the next speaker. Can you stop this sharing, sir? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before I called on Saudi, I feel it's important we listen to Dr. Christiana Menu. Have I pronounced it very well, sir?
Unmute, please. I can't hear you.
Yeah, Menu. Dr. Christiana Menu, yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ali Isati Kaji. Our next presenter that will talk about the digital future beyond the COVID is Dr. Christiana Menu. This time around is not just an ordinary academician, but a lawyer. He specialized in Industry 4.0 and Trade 2030. 4.0 and Trade 2030. He's a postgraduate professor at the UCES University in Argentina, an ambassador for peace in the UN, lecturer, director of the Innovation Center of Bolivia. Notwithstanding, the professor is the vice president of Organization Colombia 5.0. He's a representative of Meshbox in Latin America. He's an ex-managing director of the Indo-Argentina Chamber of Commerce in India. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and privilege to introduce such a versatile personality to share from his wealth of experience about the digital future beyond the COVID. I invite the professor. Dr. Chris Menu, it's your time. Yeah. Sorry, we cannot hear you. Can you unmute him?
No, we can't hear you.
Yeah. Can you just remove the earpiece and just speak to the director? Okay, in case you are having challenge, we move to the next speaker while you are making preparation. Is that okay for you? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, we are here broadcasting live and direct from the headquarters of Connecting Asia here in UTM Technovation Center, ICC, here in Johor Bahru. As are some versatile scholars who are here sharing with us, talking about the future in spite of the present world, which Dr. Ali Isati Kaji described as a VUCA world. Volatility, uncertainty, then complexity and ambiguity. It is exactly what is enveloping the world today. In such a situation, we need confidence givers. And this group of panelists are here to give the world confidence, talking about the digital future. Permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce our next speaker, panelist. Is all the way from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Dr. Badr As-Sulami is a goal-oriented personality who is currently an assistant professor at the Faculty of Islamic Architecture in Qura University, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. He is an award-winning entrepreneur, investor, and ex-co-founder of 2 successful technological startups. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Badr, besides entrepreneurial and academic activities, As-Sulami is a consultant in several government and private organizations, which include and not limited to Makkah Region Development Authority for Hajj gatherings, Additionally, ladies and gentlemen, As-Sulami is the president of the APRA, Saudi Arabia. His research activities covers fields such as architectural design, crowding, human behavior, user satisfaction, sustainability, and value management. As-Sulami has publications in reputable journals and is a member of the editorial board of a couple of journals. Ladies and gentlemen, one thing is that as a hobby to Dr. Sulami, which is paradox to me, with due respect to Doctor, he says he's anti-swimming person, but loves fishing, traveling, and networking. You don't want to swim, but you love fishing. Ladies and gentlemen, such a personality is my great honor and privilege to introduce to you, for him to share what he has for us for the digital future beyond the COVID. Dr. Sulami, the online.
Thank you very much, Mr. Inda. And very good morning from Saudi Arabia to all my colleagues and those who watch us at Connecting Asia. It's actually a great pleasure to be a member of this strategic forum. Yes, I'm anti-swimmer, but I like to fish, and that's something easy, like for me. I'm not the business guy, but I like to do business also. So, and I'm an academician and a researcher, but also I like to do some entrepreneurial activities. So let me go into my talk. Actually, my talk is a reflection, or let's say the other side of the coin that was presented by Dr. Shikaji. My talk is the opposite. It's mastering the future beyond the Saudi mask. And here again, we are talking about the numbers of cases reported in Saudi Arabia. The peak of the outbreak in Saudi Arabia was between the mid of May until the end of July, with an average of 2,500 daily cases. For us at that time, it was very dramatical times. This issue has a lots of impact on us, and up to date we have more than 360,000 cases were recorded, and more than 6,000 people lost their lives, and that's number maybe compared to other countries, it's not that big number or great number, but for us it's a great loss, especially with the lots of efforts that being given by the government to protect the people from these outbreaks. Luckily, the recovery reached more than 350,000 cases, and we are blessed. In the last week, we received the first shipment of the vaccine to Saudi Arabia. So now, every week, we're going to receive 100,000 vaccine to protect the people, and also to bring the life as much as possible as the normal life before this outbreak. But let me go back to the beginning of the outbreak in Saudi Arabia. The first confirmed cases, which was called the case 0, was recorded on the 2nd of March. 5 days prior to that, the Saudi government suspended the entry of all Umrah pilgrims and tourists, as well as suspending flights. On the 4th of March, the government announced the closure of Umrah. So basically, when we see the response of the government to COVID, the first things that they took action was by closing the Umrah and closing the Grand Mosque. This is, for Saudis, it's a big concern, because Mecca and the Umrah, you can see it from the picture, like it's the most crowded place, and it could be a disaster if the government is still operating this facility, holistic facility, during the outbreak. But we can see the effect, like after they closed this facility, it's empty. So for us, it was, like stressful somehow, because this place, the Grand Mosque, never been shut it down like that. It's empty. For us, we didn't experience something like that. And for, like, let's look at from economic perspective. According to official data, the religious pilgrims generates more than 12 billion US dollar from the worshippers, lodging, transport, gifts, food, and fees. Economists actually estimated that Mecca hotels may lose at least 40% of the pilgrimage-driven income this year. And beside this economical impact, it has an emotional and spiritual impact, as COVID isolated the worshipper from visiting the Holy Mosque. And since then, I was appointed, actually had the pleasure to be appointed as a consultant and head of the research team to study the possibility of reopening the Umrah. And we worked with the government to study all the aspects of bringing the people back to those places with careful health procedure and very strict procedure. And as a response, Saudi Arabia hosted limited Hajj in late July for the first time in modern history, with a few thousand of domestic pilgrims instead of the usual Hajj that we always see that consists of millions of pilgrims. And followed by the Umrah season, which started in October, the Saudi government announced the reopening of the Umrah again for domestic visitors in 2 stages. So we opened the Umrah gradually. And after that, we opened it for international visitors in the 1st of November. So what we learned from this one, and these lessons that we, let's say, get it from the outbreak to help us to master the future. And I can say this is where we are now. We learned a lot from this outbreak, but most importantly, we experienced the technology aspect of developing a solution to partially bringing back some aspect of normal life as before COVID-19. We believe that some of COVID impacts will stay with us for a longer time. That's why we have to be ready for any similar outbreaks. And as a result, we are pushing the research abilities to the edge and speeding the development of technology, especially in the Hajj and Umrah sector. And in terms of Hajj and Umrah, we identified 3 major, let's say, we call it themes for research, which are healthcare, mobility, and crowd management. So in the healthcare, we are looking to enhance the provision and coordination of pilgrims' well-being and healthcare, as well as sanitation and air and waste management for the Hajj and Umrah. We also looking for the pilgrim mobility. We are imagining a digitally managed, accessible, coordinated, organized, and reliable movement of Hajj and Umrah pilgrims throughout the Hajj. And at the crowd aspect, we are looking to enable safer, efficient, and a quick on-site crowd management control for Hajj and Umrah pilgrims. So we became now more reliance on technology somehow, and this requires a lot of research and a lot of collaborations. And these 3, let's say, aspects, we call them challenges. They have been announced recently as a great or grand challenges for everyone around the globe to participate in. And I will be happy if anyone would like to participate. We can join together. It's announced by King Abdullah University for Science and Technology. What I'm trying to get here is beyond COVID, we can see that mastering the future depends on using the technology to replace traditional practice of what we thought to be the norm to a new norm that have the technology paces. And we are hoping that the technology and related research can assist us to provide the best services and reach out to our target, which we are hoping to achieve by 2030. And again, I would like to thank Connecting Asia and the APRA of Nigeria for making this collaboration possible and making us cross boundaries and meet and connect during the COVID outbreak and the lockdowns that we experienced. This was, a personal and professional journey that I had during the lockdown that we experienced in Saudi Arabia. And thank you so much. And back to you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation, the President of the APRA Saudi Arabia, Dr. Badr As-Sulami. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your sharing also. We really, I feel it, feeling in the sense how COVID has hit the world, not economically, but indeed spiritually, and how Saudi have felt, 40% of its own income and a lot more. Of course, in the world, there are two categories of individuals. Some are optimists, while others are pessimists. In spite of what is happening, we are still discussing of the future. There is confidence because the future is bigger than the past. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I hope Professor Chris Menu, is it okay now? Oh, he has gone. Okay. Please, ladies and gentlemen, just joining us. This is a strategic forum organized by Connecting Asia in the 6th Asia International Conference. This is the last event for this year. This is also the first session. We have the second session later in the day. With us here is our own father, our own mentor, our own guardian, and of course, a person whom I can rightly describe as icon to reckon with. It's no any other person but Professor Dato Dr. Raja Rasia. Ladies and gentlemen, some people need no introduction because of their contribution to society. Ladies and gentlemen, let me, okay, I can see Dr. Chris knocking. Hello, Dr. Chris. Because we want to actually take Dr. Raja to the speaker here.
Microphone, Alicia.
Yeah. Hi, Dr.
Microphone, apparently.
We can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah.
We can hear you now.
Hello?
Great.
Okay. Oh, thank God.
That's one beautiful thing about digital feed. It's not even the future. It's in the present. Anyway.
Sorry for the inconvenience. Well, I'm going to share my screen. So if you let me.
Okay, please do. Please do.
No me sale. Just wait a second, please. No me sale. Okay.
Compartir pantalla.
Okay. Can you see it?
We can see you, but not a screen.
Okay. Sígueme ayudando. Wait a second, please. Now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, today I had some inconvenience, but the presentation is going to be great. So I hope to enjoy it. Well, as as I heard today, too many talk about the challenges about COVID and the digital transformation that we are having nowadays. And now I'm going to focus on the fifth industrial revolution because I truly believe that we are facing a new revolution, and this is not because of COVID. COVID, the only thing that made was to push more the transformation that we are having since the fourth industrial revolution that we are facing nowadays. But now I see that the future is going to be the fourth and the fifth industrial revolution together. And from the next year, we are going to see a lot of transformation around the world. And to focus on the present, I would like to start talking about after the World War II. And why is important to talk about the World War II? Because the war that we have that time was truly different than the war that we have in nowadays. Because in that time we have full employment. The family concept was to have too many kids. The salary indemnized to increases after the retirement, 10 years of life. Education was thought about handmade. And now the world that we are seeing nowadays, we don't have full employments. The families are getting smaller every day. Education, as we know, is getting obsolete. And the person who retires lives more than 10 years. So that is a huge problem. And with COVID, we are going to see too many challenges, even more than we saw without COVID. And to talk about the fifth industrial revolution, it's important to talk about the fourth industrial revolution, the Industry 4.0, because nowadays we are facing the introduction of connecting devices, data analytics, and artificial intelligence and technology to automate process further. But now we are going to see how the fourth industrial revolution with the fifth industrial revolution is going to be one in two revolutions. So we are going to see a tremendous challenges for the world, because the fifth industrial revolution of the Industry 5.0 will focus in cooperation between man and machine. And we know that the most important challenge that we have without COVID was to empower human beings, because nowadays we are seeing that too many people are talking about if artificial intelligence is going to surpass the human species, or how we can get connection with the artificial intelligence to don't be replaced. And that's why I truly believe that the next revolution that we are going to see from the next year is going to be the revolution of the intelligence of our hearts. Because nowadays we know that Industry 4.0, the only places that we are seeing that they are developing the 4.0 industry are China and USA. 75% of the industry of 4.0 are made in by China and USA. So the rest of the world can be adopters of the Industry 4.0, and the rest of the world can be prepared for the next industrial revolution. That the most important asset that we are going to have is the globalization of the intelligence of humankind, and at the same time the importance of the new connectivity that we are going to see in the next year from now on. And then that connectivity is going to be through the intelligence of the population of the world, not machines. Machine is going to help us to improve our lives, to improve our industries, or improve our economies, but not to improve ourselves. To improve ourselves, we must focus in our hearts, and we must focus in work together as human beings and include technology to improve our lives. And even more after COVID, because we know that the most important asset that we are going to have in the next 10 or 15 years are going to be the custom manufacturing, the cobalt deployment, the human empowerment, the speed and quality, and respect for the environment. Those characteristics are characteristics from the next industrial revolution. But we are seeing that the COVID improve those characteristics more than ever, because now we know that the next revolution that we are going to see are going to be especially on the space. and we know that the hard industry are going to be on the space, because USA, China, Russia, and India, they are focused on not just only in the world, they are focused on Mars, on the moon, because they know that the hard industry is going to be in the space. In the space, we are going to see the next industrial revolution, maybe not the fifth industrial revolution itself. We are going to see the sixth industrial revolution. But nowadays, we know that we are not the only human beings on Earth, because we have meta-humans. Meta-human is a concept that I would say that there are people who are really connected with their hearts. They are really connected with the power of their minds. And synthetic beings, we are going to see in the coming 10 or 15 years, those synthetic beings. And transhumans are people who actually use technology to improve their lives, to improve their intelligence. And maybe with Elon Musk, we are going to see from 2021, 2030, 1 million people with achieving their brains. And then we have humans. And those humans, they need to improve themselves. They need to work in their hearts, in their brains, because otherwise they are going to be obsolete. And that's why the challenges that we are going to have from the next year to 2035 are going to be biological differences, super artificial intelligence, transhuman rights, mental privacy, personal motivation, and we need to put our attention in a new legislation on artificial intelligence, because we know that global warming is important and we know that space economy is important. So in my opinion, those challenges are the most important challenges that we have focused in every family, in every war, in every situation, because we know that we are not only one war. We know that we are going to have too many wars in the coming 5 or 10 years from now on. So we know that this challenge, they are more than COVID. COVID is just a key to improve our lives, to improve our intelligence, improve our economies. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you believe with me, I am just short of words. But the big question I ask is, which world are we in? A world where human can be obsolete. Humans might be obsolete if they don't take action. Thank you to Connecting Asia. This is one of these tapes discussing the future of the digital future beyond the COVID. So the challenge of COVID is minimal when compared to the challenges listed by our amiable professor, Dr. Christian Menu. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. Let me ask, on behalf of Connecting Asia, please share your slide with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, with us here is, as I said earlier, icon to reckon. Permit me to read out his profile very briefly. He's a professor of economics at the Asia-Europe Institute, University of Malaya. He obtained his doctorate in economics from Cambridge University in 1992 and was a Rajawali Fellow at Harvard University in 2014. He was the first holder of the Khazanah National Chair of Regulatory Studies and served as Dean of the Faculty of Economics and Administration, University of Malaya, 2009 to 2010, and 2013 to 2014. He was a member of Globalix Scientific Board over the period of 2012 to 2017. Professional Fellow at UNU Merit since 2004. Senior Research Associate at the Technology Management and Development Center at Oxford University. Professional Fellow at the Center for Rising Powers, Cambridge University. An advisory member of the Industrial Development Research Center Zhejiang University over the period of 2010 to 2015. Member of the Advisory Board of University of Cambodia over the period of 10 years. Visiting professor at Lahore School of Economics 2019. Is a visiting professor at UNIMAS. You can see, ladies and gentlemen, how lucky and honored and privileged am I to invite that icon to become Professor Dr. Raja Rasya, who will be our final speaker in this panel discussion on the strategic forum organized by Connecting Asia. And we have some few questions and we call it a day. Permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to invite the Professor Dr. Raja Rasya. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Inda. I wasn't expecting, I suppose that must be an old collection of something from my website in the university. I have given 2 long presentations earlier, so I thought of just speaking off the cuff. Let me first start by mentioning that when this conference was first launched, I believe in Langkawi, I see at least 3 persons here, I think. I felt, meaning Dr. Imran Qureshi, Dr. Abdullah, of course, Muhammad Nawi, and of course, Dr. Aliyu Chikaji. I thought, come what may, that surely this is an outfit that will grow exponentially. Despite COVID-19, I see it happening. So I'm happy to see that and that to have been able to see it right from the time. And I think on that occasion, Dr. Abdullah was, I suppose, freer. He was more often available for us to listen to, including giving us lots of excitement over dinner. I remember that night. Now, let me get to the semantics first. I think Dr. Chris mentioned about Industry 4.0 and 4.0 so that we don't really get confused here. I've seen this distinction, but I haven't really seen a sea change in the interface between machine and man for me to focus on Industry 5.0. The reason I'm saying that is, as Dr. Chris rightfully mentioned, that if you're going to have harmony between human and machine, and machines being controlled by those who have power. Let's go back to this famous Latin American who had passed away now. The last time he was the Secretary General of the World Council of Churches, Paulo Freire. In his book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed, he often talked about the need for empowerment, the need for liberation of masses, and for work to have meaning. Now, of course, Industry 5.0 deals a lot with that, but I think for that to happen, you need civilizational change. It's just like what's happening now. You see COVID hitting. In many countries, you see stock markets being bailed out. The rich guys becoming richer. Jack Bezos being one of them. Many of them are building much more billions from the crisis. And the poor, of course, dying faster because they are much more exposed to the COVID. Now, let me just make that point and just focus on Industry 4.0. Let me mention that I enjoyed all the presentations, but I tried to take a different vantage point. I felt the need to mention that my readings of Industry 4.0, to connect that with the digital infrastructure, came largely from about 2001 to 2004, and much of it emanating from Germany, though, rather than the US and China. And in fact, I remember doing field work. I was then at the University of Maastricht. I was doing field work with a Kenyan in South Africa. And there I saw BMW controlling its entire assembly using robots in Johannesburg. And the cars, assembled cars, right-hand steering being transported by a rail, exclusively serving just BMW to Port Elizabeth, from where these cars were shipped. And they were required to meet just in time, meaning if they're given 8 days lead time, they will have to make that throughput time plus the delivery time reaching the person who orders in 8 days. Now that's an important point in the sense that those were elements I saw earlier. Then of course, I think what is important is the OECD did a huge study, and there's a whole report on Southeast Asia. They actually recommended the proliferation of Industry 4.0 technologies for the whole set of Southeast Asian countries, 10 of them. We don't include Timor-Leste yet. 2014, Malaysia and Singapore at the same time came up with blueprints to promote that, meaning they wanted to see the introduction of virtual and augmented realities, having driverless buses and a whole range of things. Singapore has actually gone a lot faster on that. We are much slower, even though we have all these companies that could do that for you, like DreamTech, DreamAge. That's one company. There are many of such companies around, but we are quite slow on that, though. But let me then go on to mention that in touching some of the elements that were mentioned just now, what COVID has done is, I agree with all the speakers, that it's only somehow elevated the importance of moving towards technologies that reduce contact, that gives you the space to introduce technologies that can step up production, for example, and then at the same time make it simpler, and one that requires much more use of the brain. Now, I would say that as far as East Asia is concerned, it starts with Donald Trump. Fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not sure if anyone here fans of Donald Trump. Donald Trump made even worse, not that he was the starter. Obama had already started the trade friction between China and the US. Now, that meant Taiwanese firms and Korean firms came under enormous pressure, same with Japan, because these countries are allies of the US. And what that actually meant is that Taiwan, for example, reshored manufacturing, reshored agriculture to the point of achieving 97% self-sufficiency in rice last year. Agriculture, I mean, the entire other range of other food, 80%, way higher than Malaysia. What it does was to expand the use of robots, for example. In agriculture, for example, they started using robots to milk cows. They use drones extensively. They plow fields with robots. Now, that actually has helped them bring these industries back, because by 2019, services had reached something like 79% of the GDP of Taiwan. Now, what we see is these things were already happening earlier. What COVID has done will include the allocation of 2.2 billion US by Japan to bring back their firms after COVID pandemic struck. Not only to bring those firms back to Japan, but also to final markets like Southeast Asia. If you have component suppliers, then it's best they'd locate near assemblers. And the government had put out 2.2 billion US to assist them. So these things were all happening. Now, in the context of how, I'll try to make time. I know we are finishing. I'll just shorten and skip some of the things that I have had earlier. Now, let me just mention that I did this paper. It's under review now. As a proxy, we've used broadband penetration. And we have something like 18 years observations, but a panel that is very long, including all the countries possible. What's happening is, if you're looking at the impact of broadband penetration, seen as a proxy, because we're not now including the digital infrastructure itself, Internet of Things or cloud computing, we are not using those things as such, because then you would lose data. Now, if you look at that, the least developed countries are actually falling back. Most of them are in Africa. They're actually falling back, which means to say, unless somebody comes and assists them, the developed countries, it's quite unlikely that you can arrest the digital divide. In as much as we can project many things. In fact, we actually recommend that there are bodies that will put that across, because that will also assist the achievement of mitigating climate change and global warming, because the environment is a global common. Helping something else elsewhere, you're helping yourself. That's exactly what Hardin said about the tragedy of commons. So I'd like to mention, I mean, even though I couldn't possibly talk about everything that I have in mind, but let me just mention that if we want to see the appropriation of Industry 4.0 technologies, not just limited to digital infrastructure, then I believe that there must be a lot more cooperation. That's the point that Chris raised just now, Dr. Chris. And the attempt should be to harmonize this relationship between not just man and human, but between classes. You must abandon classes. You can't have a societies, which is what's happening now. The US and UK have for the last 5 decades become more unequal. It's also reflected in the manifestation of how COVID has ravaged, say, in the number of infections and deaths. I'd like to stop there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Dato Raja Rasia. When the world was created...
Yeah, please just call me Raja, is it? That's the name I used.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Luckily, you're not calling me Professor Ulung.
Thank you so much. I recalled of the creation of the world that it was shaky, then a mountain was sent down to stabilize the world. Now the world is shaking. We need mountainous intellectuals to stabilize the world. And here we are with them discussing about the future of technology. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, we have taken the last speaker from the panelists. And the only thing that remains, we have just few questions. But quickly, we will have just one minute for responding of the questions from our own respected participants that have been following us. Let me first start with Dr. Sobia. The question I said, my question is from Dr. Sobia, is that what role should business building have in helping you accelerate your entrance into new markets or access new customer? 1 minute.
Sorry, can you please repeat the question?
Okay, she said, is that, okay, what role should business building have in helping you accelerate your entrance into new markets or access new customer?
Actually, what I can say is that I don't quite understand the question, because what I was talking about was the scenario of COVID-19, that what I told you that, in my opinion, the digital leadership is the requirement, or you can say that those leaders who can sense the present situation and who can lead their companies forward. So I don't know why they. I was unable to understand the question that she asked for me. That if anybody else can answer it, because I'm unable to understand the question which they asked for me.
I think you have tactically answered her by saying digital leadership.
Yes, because I was actually talking about this scenario, which I think that the solution lies in having a digital. If you want to steer your organization, or any organization has to be steered out of this situation, I think the digital leadership is the solution. This is in the backdrop of my presentation, which I can just.
To further remind her or our participant, we made mention of the 3 stages to be taken: responding, and of course recovery.
That was also related. That was also related to digital leadership, because those 3 stages which I talked about, that was also related to the digital leadership. Because if we are having the agile mindset leaders, then they can respond. They can take their organizations how to sustain, how to thrive in this unprecedented situation. So we need the solution lies in the leader who can sense and who can drive, or who can steer away their organization in this difficult time.
Thank you so much for this wonderful response, and for your honesty, and of course other comments.
Actually, yeah. Thank you.
The next question goes to Dr. Aliyu. It says that digital capabilities are more severe challenges for developing countries. For instance, Nigeria. How government are planning to cope up this post-COVID situation?
Well, thank you very much for that question, and I will respond in this manner. That government is already doing a lot of things about that, and Recently, what the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy has just launched is about, he just launched a package which is more on digital economy. And because that is the future, that is where, I mean, every other nation is moving towards. Like many other panelists here mentioned, COVID-19 is not actually the main thing that, I mean, it's only propelled, COVID-19 propelled us towards digital future, and it appears to be the solution. So yes, digital economy, digital future. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this precise response to the question. Hope the participants have benefited from this response. Our next question goes to Dr. Abdullah. And the question is, what do you think about future of digital learning? Universities invest a lot to acquire this new normal. Is this system be back as soon as the COVID is over?
Sorry, Inda, could you repeat the question, please?
Okay, the questioner says here, what do you think about future of digital learning? Universities invest a lot to acquire this new normal. Is this system be back soon?
Okay, thank you very much, Inda, for the question. Now, I do believe that there is no going back. Whatever it is, the world will not reset back to pre-COVID days, even though COVID may be hopefully cured by next year or next couple of years. That's because once we move forward, that's the only direction. The question right now is what is the direction? So in terms of investing in, like I said, in infrastructure, in training, in every component that is needed to embrace digitalization of learning. The question remains, what is the direction? And again, this is actually the heart of my presentation, and that is, investing in tech is good. Investing in learning is good. Investing in training is good. But at the same time, we have to remember that learning, especially at higher education, it's not a vacuum. We cannot be the only ones who are invested in the system, and we are so high up there that it becomes difficult to enter. So the entry level, we have to make sure that society around us, the nation around us, develops as we develop. Otherwise, higher education will find itself so high up, so far away from society that we will not be able to do good. In language learning, for example, we have Stephen Krashen. Stephen Krashen in 1988, he talks about the I+1. And the whole concept of I+1 is actually about scaffolding, where when you want to teach, you have to make sure that you teach at a level that is I+1, that is attainable through only one step, and it's not too far away. If you go at I+2, the person who's trying to reach that level will not be able to go. So I think my answer to the question is, I don't believe there's a going back. I believe there's going forward, but at the same time, in higher education, we need to be able to stay. We need to be able to rise together with society. And we also need to determine the direction of where we should go. And in the case that I made just now, it is not just about transmission of knowledge, it's also about building character, building relationships that can not only build a country, but build society. That's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hope the question benefits us all. And thank you for responding. Many things to say, but no time to say them. However, we would just use the available time to get what is available. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now invite Dr. Badar to answer the question, how did digitalization help to make strategies to deal with any hazard in future? As UAE has also a holy place, an influx of people visit UAE every year. Any specific policy?
Yes, we are now putting a big planning for the next infrastructure. And we already actually started this planning. The deployment of technology will help a lot in predicting the disaster, not only to monitor or control the disaster, but also in predicting. There are lots of infrastructure that you can easily find now. The technology has been advanced in the last 5 years that can help a lot in not only predicting, but also simulating before and test your facilities. Are they well designed or not? So the main thing is looking for the infrastructure. You cannot build a tower without a very strong basis. And if we want to go for beyond COVID, and if we want to handle any future disasters, then we have to have the right basis from now. That's my answer.
Thank you so much for this wonderful and precise answer. Our next question goes to Emerald Publishing Company. The business manager Southeast, Mr. William Law. What do you think that COVID-19 created new learning opportunity? Example, Oxford University launched free online short courses all around the world.
Right. Well, taking the well, first of all, thank you very much for the questions. Right, I'm going to deliver in a very different perspective of it. Being a publisher, not just publishing the research or cases or books and things like that, but what is the goal? What is the intentions of us being a company that would like to accomplish that? So Emerald is an independent, family-owned company still, unlike and we are a small and medium company, right? So a medium publisher company. But our goals are really UN SDG oriented, sustainability oriented, where we have spread out to our editorial team members, our authors as well, informing them about the importance of research. So coming back to the questions itself, about the COVID-19, about the COVID-19 learning. So this year we actually released a compilations of research coming up from the SARS pandemics, COVID-19s, and we actually offer that as free resources for everyone around the world to actually access into that. So that's actually the first one. The second is that we also bring in a research-minded authorships to talk about, to actually have a webinar about, to have research and teaching notes about the COVID-19 resources as well. So these are some of the things that.
Where's Inda? It's gone out of sight.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Welcome back. you know, we are talking about digital future, and of course, the digital is also giving us some challenges at present. But we thank our technical team for fixing it up. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a question for Dr. Chris. Do I need to repeat again, sir?
Yeah, please, please.
Okay. The question said, do you think that COVID-19 has shaken the world and now the world is taking seriously of all digital challenges? How can we have that heart-to-heart collaboration as humans?
Okay. Well, I do believe that to boost our economies and even more after COVID is to work in terms of the global intelligence, because the new connectivity that we are going to see from the next year is going to be not the usual connectivity as we saw in the last years. Now the new connectivity is a challenge for each one of us, because the challenge that we are going to see is how we are going to connect again each other, and that connection will be possible once you work with your coherence, and that means work with your heart and your brain. And if you work with your brain and your heart, that makes coherence, and that's the answer of the challenge of the every personal challenge in terms of productivity, education, economy, and improve. Because before COVID, we saw the technology, we saw the challenges that we are having, but after COVID, we have one thing more. The technology give us a new war, because obligate us to be in our homes, work in our homes, not touch each other. Connections are not human anymore, and we need to humanize again the war. And for that, we need to work in terms of a new globalization, because the last globalization was trade globalization. After World War II, we saw a globalization of how some countries can do business through export and import. But now the new globalization is the globalization of intelligence. You are going to work with me if you can have the opportunity to link one idea with me, because it's not important the material things nowadays. The most important things nowadays are the ideas, are your imagination, your vision for the future, and live the future as a present. Because like you said, we are not talking about the future, we are talking about the present. So my advice to all is the advice that I'm telling you every day when I see my face in front of the mirror, and I say, Chris, I have to challenge myself every day to improve my work, my intelligence, my body, my all of me. Because now the most important thing that you must focus on, as I said before, is your heart and your brain, not your brain, because knowledge is getting liquid. It's not important anymore, the knowledge. The knowledge is for machines. Humans must work on the intelligence of the heart. That's my answer.
Wow. So intriguing, so interesting. It's one tool to have human beings, and it's another to be humans. Now, this is the challenge, how to be humans and get connected. Knowledge
Exactly.
obsolete, transferred to the machines. And now, how can we connect the hearts? I hope Dr. Abdullah is specifically part of this, and Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, we need to double up. As we said, we need to double up. We have to double up also to end this session. Also inviting Professor Dato Raja to respond to this question. And after his response, then we call it a day. And we have another session for yet strategic forum discussion on towards digital future beyond the COVID. Professor Rajasa, is this digitalization leading us humans towards the globalization?
I think the term globalization has been used differently by different people. To mainstream economists, it simply only means internationalization. To sociologists, to my understanding of it, they seem to take the term happening if you have the entire globe shaping the processes rather than a few centers in a globe shaping the processes. Now, I think that sort of development hasn't really evolved as such, but the processes heading towards that are possible. But if you are dealing with a definition where taking on from the understanding that Chris is advancing, which really requires participative involvement by the entire globe, I think the world hasn't headed in that direction. You still see concentrations of power shaping these processes. Now, the second thing you need to know is it's just like when the pandemic struck. Of course, a lot of people have doubts about whether Wuhan is indeed the epicenter of the pandemic. Some people claim that it's a concoction, it's a development by lab assistants and so on, rather than something that occurred without any attempt to shape the process, manipulate the situation. Now, we shall not get into that. But the important thing here is the focus has a lot been on, when you talk about the new normal industries, most of them seem to be talking on people's protection equipment, which is dealing with masks, gloves, and ventilators, the three central ones. Not so much about Industry 4.0 as such, as a way of ensuring that these occurrences are minimized. Now, that's one. Second, even in countries, that includes Malaysia, if you look at the surge in infections now, COVID-19 surge, a lot of it is coming from poor administration of SOPs, standard operating procedures. A lot of them are happening in companies. Top Glove, which is now a world-leading company, has had high infections simply because SOPs weren't followed. Now we are coming back to this term, globalization, digitalization heading in that direction. While I feel digitalization is expanding things further, giving greater potential, until and unless you solve the problem of concentrations of power, not just particular countries being more powerful than others, but also within societies, some groups are more powerful than others. Unless you address this sort of issues, even though innately humans are different, you cannot possibly have a process if it is defined the way I like, even though I'm an economist, I like what the sociologists say, then you can't possibly have it in that sort of manner, and in a manner where you're actually harmonizing relationships between people, relationships between man and machine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Raja, for this sharing. Thank you so much, our versatile and of course, iconic panelist. Thank you so much for sparing your time to be with us here in Connecting Asia. Thank you for sharing to the world. We hope what you have shared today can bring changes and more confidence in our global community. We want to keep this discussion to continue. However, we are being marked by time. So we just have to stop here. On behalf of Connecting Asia, we want to most sincerely thank everyone. Thank you, Professor Dr. Raja. Thank you so much, Dr. Abdullah. Thank you so much, Dr. Badar Asulani. Thank you so much, Dr. Sobia Irum. Thank you so much, Dr. Chris Menu. Thank you so much, Dr. William Law. Thank you so much, Dr. Aliu Isati Kaji, for being with us. Really, thank you once again, and we thank you so much for being with us. Dear participants, do not forget we have another session of Strategic Forum, which will be the final session. Be with Connecting Asia in this event, final event of the 6th Asia International Conference 2020, organized by Connecting Asia. On behalf of the founding director, I wish you a blissful day, and may COVID-19 and beyond be a blessing to the whole of humanity. May we come together, connect our hearts together to bring changes for the betterment of the world. Thank you. My name is Ida, and I'm saying goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and Happy New Year in advance.
Thank you. Thank you for
Take care, everyone.
this
Stay safe.
wonderful
Thanks,
forum.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum.
Bye.